Hey everyone, what's up? It's your girl Rachel here. Thanks again for joining us for another very special AMA. We're happy to have you here. And today we've actually got 3 people on this AMA with us. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. We've got Nico Arkuras. He is the CEO and co-founder of DC Spark and a significant contributor to Milkomeda protocol. Hi, Nico. Welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you for the invitation.
Hi. Thanks. We've also got Christina Sevilla. She's the communications manager at OccamFi. Hi, Christina.
Hey, everyone. It's great to be here.
Hi. And we have Mark Berger. He's the OccamFi Association president. Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Hey, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here. I just want to remind the audience before we get started, please send your questions in the chat. All 3 participants are available to answer those questions for you. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the AMA today. So first question, and I guess this would be for Nico, what is Milkomeda?
Yeah, so Milkomeda is a protocol that gives EVM capabilities for non-EVM blockchains using rollups. And we are planning to have deployments for Cardano, Algorand, Solana, and Terra. And this is quite good because it will bring all the tooling, everything that's related to compatibility from EVM. So you can code in Solidity for all these other chains. And it's like a pretty hot topic. And we have seen like this has been like very helpful for other blockchains like Avalanche, Near, and some other ones.
Got it. So it's a layer 2, correct, Nico? Milkomeda is layer 2?
Yes. So when Milkomeda is implemented as a rollup, which basically is using like the main chain as a data availability solution where everything that happens in the layer 2 gets written to the layer 1. That's a layer 2. We are using rollups. But for the specific implementation of Cardano, right now we went a little bit faster. So we implemented a sidechain, which is like highly scalable, but it's going to be moving towards being a rollup in the medium term.
Got it. Got it. Great. Mark and Christina, can you guys talk a little bit about OccamFi and OccamX?
Absolutely. So Occam is known for its primary market launchpad. So it exists roughly a year now, and it has launched over 30 quality projects focusing on the Cardano blockchain. And what we've noticed is that on the main chain, there's congestion, smart contracts are relatively new, and it's relatively hard to use. But there is a load of good projects that deserve a decentralized secondary market. And that's what we're going to provide with OccamX on Milkomeda to benefit from all the speed advantages that it has.
Got it. Wonderful. Now, can we go a little bit more into detail as to how these 2 projects are actually working together? Mark, you kind of touched on it, but if we could just go a little bit deeper there, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So all which is standard for Cardano available. And Milkomeda has fantastic infrastructure to take those CNTs, to bridge them over to Milkomeda. And then once they're bridged over, there will be significant liquidity pools at OccamX where you can easily swap those tokens and finally dive into a lot of DeFi action. Milkomeda allows us to use the EVM standard. So we can basically look back and make use of the most used smart contract engine that we then can use and to scale those projects and provide interesting DeFi opportunities. So in the end, OccamX is basically a decentralized exchange similar to something like Uniswap, but it's optimized for CNT tokens. We'll have a lot of good projects on there, and we'll have good partners that provide decent liquidity, and therefore it's going to be decent and interesting for any type of user to start looking at this and using it early on, because there's going to be significant liquidity mining opportunities where the incentivation is set in an interesting way for people who participate.
Got it. Nico, did you want to elaborate a little bit on how Milkomeda helps DEXs take advantage of liquidity across multiple blockchain ecosystems?
Yeah, sure. So this is like a pretty interesting concept because, for example, right now for Cardano, there are not like bridges to other like blockchains, for example, Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, etc. And through Milkomeda, Cardano is going to get exposure to assets from like the general like ecosystem. So Milkomeda is not going to be only this EVM solution, but also it's going to be by using one of our partners, Nomad, we're going to be able to have connection to other EVM solutions, which is going to be quite good because right now the access in Cardano, they only have access to Cardano assets. But for example, Occam, when it's launching in Milkomeda, they're going to have access not only to all the assets that exist in Cardano, but any asset that they can get from other EVM chains. So this is quite cool because right now, for example, in Cardano, there is no USDC, there is no USDT, and Occam is going to have all of those. So it's going to be like a big improvement for everything that's related to the access in Cardano, and also it's going to be very tangible for normal users.
Got it. Now, I think Mark and Christina, did you want to show a video as to how OccamX is leveraging Milkomeda?
That's right. We prepared a little demo for you guys to take you through the testnet on Milkomeda. So what you can see at the moment is the landing page for the OccamX ecosystem, let's say, the OccamX protocol. We have over there Occam the Monk, which is our little mascot. And I'm just scrolling here through the landing page to give you a little taste of our roadmap, what it looks like, what stage we're at. And right now we're actually going to launch the OccamX swap. So on the right-hand side over there, you'll see that I'm showing that I already have my MetaMask wallet connected. For those that don't, we have a step-by-step guide on how to do this. It's very simple. It doesn't take longer than 10 minutes in order to set everything up, including the confirmations. So here I'm starting the actual swap, and all that you have to do is just put in the tokens that you would like to swap. Here, because of my internet, it might take a little bit of time for it to happen, but there we go. We have everything set up there. It's a very quick process, as you can see. Then your MetaMask, which is connected, asks for your confirmation. What you'll notice, again, because of my internet, it was a little bit slow, and due to the recording time, usually this doesn't happen when I'm not recording. As usual, you know, technology gets in the way. It's very quick. The confirmation takes just a few moments. So there we go. You can confirm on the side, of course, after checking all of the information is correct. And you'll see that the transaction is pending, and within seconds, it's actually already confirmed. We go back to the wallet at the moment just to see that the assets have been added to MetaMask. So we go to assets over there. And of course, everything is on the Milkomeda testnet, which is now available to everybody since yesterday. We welcome people to go on there and to test it for themselves. And we created a form for users to be able to give us feedback in order to maybe improve on anything that needs improving. You can also provide liquidity, as I'm showing on the screen right now. It's also a very quick and simple process that takes just a few clicks. I didn't do it here just in the interest of time, but we encourage everybody to get on, to try it out, and to provide feedback for us.
Great. Thanks, Christina. That was an awesome presentation. I love that. Very visual. I'm going to take a few questions from the audience because we've got those coming in right now. Dano, they're asking, what wallets will be compatible, and are we able to transfer wrapped ETH tokens back to Cardano? So whoever wants to jump in and take that question.
Yeah, I can take that question. So in compatibility for wallets, you are going to have like the main one, for example, MetaMask. So you can use MetaMask in Ethereum to move assets to Milkomeda, and then you can use, again, MetaMask to move assets in Milkomeda, and even to use like the bridge to move assets from Milkomeda to Cardano. And most of like the tooling from Ethereum works out of the box for Milkomeda. There's like two terms that I like to use to explain this. Milkomeda's EVM equivalent, while other solutions sometimes they're EVM compatible. What is the difference? If you have twins, fraternal twins are compatible, and identical twins are equivalent. So basically, we are like like the identical twin for Ethereum. So everything that works in Ethereum works with us. And in the Cardano side, most of like the most well-known wallets can support Milkomeda to move assets from Cardano back to Ethereum or Milkomeda.
Got it. Great. Okay, next question. I'm going to ask the next question, but an audience is kind of asking the same question, so they kind of coincide. What will the OccamX DEX allow users to do? So can we talk a little bit about the use cases and also how the OccamX token will be leveraged here?
Yes, of course. So first and foremost, you can swap the tokens on the DEX directly. You can provide liquidity. With the providing of liquidity, there will be liquidity mining events where people can have decent yield farming opportunities. And then the token itself is set up to be a governance token. So the whole OccamX setup is its own DAO that is governed by the token, and therefore you will have a say to participate in stake-based on-chain governance votings on how to sort of go forward and take decisions. So yeah, you'll be important if you have the OccamX token.
Got it. Wonderful. And Mark, how do people acquire the OccamX token?
Yeah, so there's a detailed blog post on Medium, on our OccamFi Medium. So currently there is a couple ways how you can get the OccamX token for free. One way is to acquire the OCC token and stake it. Another way would be to delegate your ADA to the POCC pool. Of course, once we launch and we have already some TVL achieved, the token will be released, and then you can buy it directly on the OccamX decentralized exchange. And if you want to know more, the best place is to go to our Medium and read the article. Everything is described in detail on how you can get your hands on free OccamX tokens.
Wonderful. I'm going to take another question from the audience. We've got quite a few coming in, so thank you guys for being interactive with us. BitDono is asking, why is there no token for Milkomeda, and will there be one in the future? Nico, I'm going to let you answer that one.
Thank you. So something that for me wasn't great is when I would use like a sidechain in Ethereum, I would have to get this other token, and it would like make a normal user confusing. So for us, Milkomeda, we want to put first like user experience, and that's like taking out friction. So if you, for example, have ADA, you should be able to use ADA to pay for transactions and everything in Milkomeda, and that's the way that we did it. So we don't have a token because we wanted to improve like UX. And even this is like a very good decision in terms of like how we can expand, because eventually in the future, we can also even implement what is called wrap smart contracts. So you can have like a front end or like API in Cardano, and you can have like sort of like the backend smart contract in Milkomeda, and you're going to only need to use ADA to like be able to move computation towards Milkomeda, do the computation, and come back and get like, for example, a swap of tokens. So even from Cardano side, eventually you could be able to use like Occam, which is like pretty cool. And all of these is much easier to do and enable when we are using ADA as the base currency. For other deployments in the other chains that we're going to be using the native token of those blockchains as well. So for example, for the deployment algorithm, we are going to be using Algo.
Got it. While we're on the topic of tokens, I'm also going to take a question from the audience. Peter is asking, in the OccamX timeline, the token distribution will start when there's enough TVL. How much is enough? Mark, can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we were thinking once we crash the threshold, or once the OccamX project crashes the threshold of roughly 100 million liquidity provided in US dollar terms, the start of the OccamX token will be distributed.
Got it. And Mark, can you kind of discuss, I heard, is there a liquidity campaign that we can expect sometime soon?
Yes, exactly. So we'll so right now we're in testnet. So right now we encourage people to go install the wallets, get some free testnet tokens, and do some swaps, try to provide some liquidity, and then provide us with feedback if there's any hiccups. And once we are 100% sure that there's no hiccups anymore, we will switch the live net on. And then as soon as we switch on the live net, we'll also follow up with detailed instructions on how the liquidity mining campaigns are going to work.
Got it. Okay, let's kind of focus on the technical side of things now. Nico, I'm wondering, can you kind of discuss why rollups are a possible solution for scalability?
Yeah, so maybe I'm going to get like a bit technical, but I'm going to try to not make it so technical. So I'm a believer that, or like what we have seen so far is that layer one chains, they cannot scale like to the infinite, or like to the actual industry needs that we have. And we have seen with Ethereum and other chains, like even, for example, in Solana, like chains cannot scale in the first layer like forever. It's like not possible because of like laws of physics. So what do we do? So a lot of like different blockchains have been looking at mainly two different options: rollups and also everything that's related to sharding. Sharding is very complicated, and actually like the Ethereum like path, like the updates have been like modifying what is like sharding. Before sharding will have computation and data, and now like they took out computation because it will get like very complicated. So it's just now like database. But either way, sharding is very complicated, and rollups is working quite well. And especially because right now, not only there is like the option of like writing information to the base chain using rollups for like optimistic rollups, which basically they have like they use like they use everything in the layer one to like write the information. But also we have this other option, which is CK rollups, which basically they create validity proof that that way they can send to like the main chain to verify that the proof is correct, and then they can advance the state with the smart contract, and this can scale up quite well. And we have seen things, for example, Starware, CK Sync, and also there's like even some privacy solutions like Aztec, which is like super interesting, but that one's more related to privacy. So I'm very bullish in rollups, and I think like this is going to be like the way that other chains are going to also scale up, because at least for me, I believe that there is going to be a one blockchain that's going to take the entire market, but probably there are going to be like a few that are going to take the market. So most of them, they're going to go through like similar problems. So at the end, if everything related to scalability is related to rollups, we are going to see like layer ones trying to like update themselves or to be more rollups friendly. And what do this means? That basically they're going to be trying to do mostly two things: having the state required to create like proof being smaller and more specific, and that the data availability is going to be like easier. And I have seen like cool stuff, for example, in Ethereum that are updating for like make rollups more costless, which is like quite interesting. So that's a little bit of how I see how things are evolving. But rollups is such a important technology that even layer one blockchains are modifying themselves to be more friendly towards them.
Got it. And Nico, can you kind of elaborate a little bit on the challenges that, you know, may come about when using sidechain rollups and layer twos? and how we can combat those.
Yeah, so at least for us, sidechain is like a medium-term solution in Cardano, while Cardano has some aggregates that are going to make it more friendly towards rollup, because sidechain doesn't have the same security properties as a rollup. Rollup can inherit like the same security properties of the layer one, which is super, super amazing. So in terms of that, that's why we started with like sidechain, to have something working and to eventually, when Cardano is ready, to move everything to the rollup. And related to, I don't know if I missed one of the two questions that you throw me.
No, you're good. Thank you. Thanks for explaining that. I'm going to go and take some questions from the audience again. Peter's asking, is Milkomeda to Cardano the same as Polygon is to Ethereum? Are there any significant differences?
Good question. So Milkomeda is starting similar to Polygon to Ethereum, although we don't have a thematic token. Milkomeda doesn't have a token, but Milkomeda is moving towards being a rollup. So then Milkomeda is going to be evolving from Polygon to be something similar to Arbitrum or Optimism.
Great. I'm going to take another question from the audience as well. As D is asking, could you explain more about the benefits of holding OCC token on OCX ecosystem? Because I think you answered the question for OCX token use case, but not the OCC use case. Thank you.
Yeah, so the OCC token is the governance token for the primary market, which is called OccamRaiser. That's the launch pad that's been going for a year. And the OCX token is the governance token for the OccamX, which is the DEX. There are two separate DAOs so that they can evolve and grow separately. The whole community will be getting OCX for participating in OccamRaiser, having those tokens, holding those tokens, etc. And so that's how it's going to go. However, there is incentive mechanisms on both sides, whether you participate on OccamRaiser with the OCC token, or whether you participate on OccamX with providing liquidity, for instance, to get some free OCX over time.
Great. Mark, I'm also curious to know a little bit more about how OccamX will keep the users safe, because as we've seen in the past year, there's been so many scams and just, things where users have been compromised on DEXs. So can you kind of discuss the safety protocols there?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, exact documentation on how you need to do stuff and how you need to set stuff up. There will be regular AMAs and
I don't know if Mark is having technical issues with his Wi-Fi or if it's on my end. Christina, Nico, can you hear Mark?
No, I think it's on Mark's end.
Okay, yeah, apologies to the audience about the awkward silence. With these live events, you never know about the technical challenges. But Mark, if you are back with us, can you kind of repeat how OccamFi will be keeping users safe? Or we may have to go on to another question.
There we go. I think he's going to log in again.
Okay.
And the connection will be restored at that point.
Okay, got it. Okay, Nico, let's talk a little bit more about Milkomeda then while Mark gets the Wi-Fi back. So can you talk a little bit about why it's relevant to understand the power of sidechains?
Yeah, so sidechains, like I just see it as a middle step towards rollups. Rollups is like the thing that's actually really cool. And for us, that's why we are like seeing that rollups are not only like something that could be used for scalability, like how we are seeing in Ethereum with like Arbitrum, Optimism, Starware, zkSync, and other solutions, but also rollups could be used for example, integrating another built-on machine into another chain that natively doesn't support this chain. So for example, we are going to be implementing rollups to bring EVM capabilities for Algorand, Solana, Terra, and also Cardano. And this is quite cool because we have seen implementations of other EVMs into base chains. And they're not completely like, they're compatible, but they still have like some problems, some like things that are not working exactly. So rollups are so cool that we are going to be able to bring EVM equivalents. And this like previously similar to what I was saying about the identical twins. But furthermore, if we implement EVM as a second layer solution on top, for example, Cardano, Algorand, some of the other ones, we could eventually bring technology that's been developed for Ethereum to Cardano on these other chains using us as an adapter. So we can bring, for example, a CK rollup to Algorand Cardano using it as a layer 3 solution. And they're going to be able to use everything that they have developed so far because we, as a second layer solution, we're going to be implementing EVM. So, for example, the prover, the state updater, everything's going to work out of the box, which is quite amazing because we could like not only give the EVM support, but also we could bring other scalability solution for these other chains, which is like something really interesting and that personally like is one of my passions.
Got it. Wonderful. Thank you. Mark, now that you're back with us, did you want to finish explaining how OccamFi is keeping users safe?
Where did it cut me off? Because I did the whole explanation until I realized that I
think maybe start from the beginning again.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, we have done, or the developers have done the uttermost possible. So they have been using proven code. That code was carefully reviewed. So from the application side, the developers, they sleep pretty well, having done the uppermost possible. And then, as known from OccamRaiser already, the community is pretty important for the Occam ecosystem. So the same as with OccamRaiser, OccamX will have a decent community with moderators that have 24/7 shifts and will be there to help any user that struggles. So if you struggle or if you have any questions, just join Telegram or Discord and start asking questions. And our people will make sure that they send you the right links or give you the right explanation or the extra help you need to get started. At the same time, respect the minimum community rules. So never react on a private message that you get from someone first to in the chat.
Great. Thanks, Mark. I'm going to take another question from the audience. BitDano is asking, will there be pairings for OCC on OCX? Mark, do you want to answer that one?
There will be a decent sized pool, OCC against ADA, right from the start.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks to the audience. Again, keep your questions coming. They're really great so far. Mark, I was also curious to know, can you talk a little bit more about the biggest challenges that come about when launching a DEX and how we can combat those?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of challenges. It starts with the development, then getting the liquidity, then the legal side of things, and then obviously traction. We believe that liquidity and a decent setup incentivation program is the most important part to grow the DEX. And that's something we're really confident. We have really good partners that believe in Milkomeda and that believe in OccamX as a project that will back us and provide decent liquidity from day one. And with that, the first hurdle is already taken. Then we need long-lasting incentivation programs so that it's of interest for people to sort of start moving the funds towards Milkomeda. And that's something that we have ready and where we will release more after we close the beta and move to mainnet. So I encourage everyone to sort of follow us, read through our announcements, and then things will go naturally.
Great. Wonderful. Okay, another question from the audience. Does Good Play Dice is asking, when will the launch be, I'm assuming, of OccamX? Mark?
Yeah, so I mean, right now we're in beta, so we really want to have some users play with it and provide feedback. And if there's no fixes needed, or if there's fixes needed, we'll switch towards mainnet pretty soon when we're confident that everything is right. So right now we don't want to give a date, but yeah, things look quite promising to start soon.
Wonderful. Thanks again, audience. Keep your questions coming. We're getting a lot of questions, which is great. I'll take another one from Peter. Peter is asking, will MetaMask Mobile work with Milkomeda or only the browser extension?
Yeah, so I haven't lately used MetaMask Mobile. If MetaMask Mobile allows you to like add different networks, for example, if you can add, for example, Arbitrum, Polygon to also work with Milkomeda. So yeah, it's going to depend on MetaMask, but Milkomeda should be like good to be used from mobile.
Wonderful. Mark, I know we kind of briefly touched on this already, but if you can go into more detail here, I think it would be interesting for the audience to know more about what the OccamX DEX will allow users to do, for instance, staking, earning, swapping. Did you want to go into some further detail there? Because I think that's always an interesting thing to discuss.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as mentioned, the primary use case is to go on there and swap your tokens. Another important use case is to provide liquidity. And whenever you provide liquidity on top of that, you can do yield farming or liquidity mining events for incentivation. So you can do pretty much anything you can do on Uniswap or Trader Joe's that you might have used before, or PancakeSwap. So you can do pretty much anything of those functionalities, but it's optimized for now to move Cardano native tokens from the layer 1 through the Nomads bridge onto the Milkomeda. Of the
Great. I think we lost, not great. I think we lost Mark again. So when he comes back, I don't know if he has anything else to add. Oh, hi, Mark, you're back. Did you want to add anything else to what you just said? I don't know if you finished or if we lost you before you ended.
No, I think I said pretty much anything.
Got it. Wonderful. Nico, out of curiosity, what's next for Milkomeda? What can we expect moving forward?
Yeah, so Milkomeda is going to be launching hopefully in the next week or two. and that's going to be for the Cardano sidechain deployment. But we want to also be launching in Algorand as a rollup, and that's like quite exciting because our vision is not to be only like focusing one chain, but to be like multi-chain. So we want to bring everything that's related to EVM also to the Algorand ecosystem, and after that, it's going to be Solana. So it's going to be very interesting, like 4 to 6 months until we're able to achieve this like short-term planning.
Yeah, Nico, you've mentioned a lot about multi-chain. If you can elaborate on the importance there, that would be great as well, just to help us better understand why multi-chain is so important.
Yeah, so at the end, there is like in everything that we do, especially like technology and in blockchain, it has been seen. So for example, even in Ethereum, the like trade-off with like the different solutions that have been implemented. So as we see that scalability is a problem, even for like blockchains that already like have a lot of like transaction from day one, like Solana, they're still like struggling because it's never enough. So when something's never enough, you need to take decisions, and sometimes you want to go with rollups or you want to go with sharding. How you want to treat what is like the state, which is like really important, because if you have everything related to like data and computation and the smart contract code mixing one, you're going to have a global state that's more difficult to create like validity proof for CK rollups. So maybe you want to modify like the virtual machine to separate this and make it easier for rollups. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that there's like so many different technical decisions that maybe improve something but make something more difficult. So that's why I believe that is in the technical part, plus like the focus of like different projects that are going to be launching in different chains. That's going to create like creates a thesis that multiple chains can be focusing different things, and hence there's going to be options for doing multiple things. And why Milkomeda is going to be helpful for all of this, because one person could say, oh, why do you need EVM if you can just use a bridge? And as we have seen with bridges sometimes, that and how Vitalik also posted that you shouldn't be using like bridges that much because like the security guarantees are different. So you want to have deployments of your own tooling of like the specific apps in your own chain, and that's what we're like aiming for. We're aiming first that the future is going to be multi-chain, so we want to bring EVM capabilities for multiple chains, and second that one DApp that's, for example, deployed in Ethereum is not enough, because you cannot interact with this DApp. It's expensive, it's slow, and sometimes there's going to be some risk involved, like we have seen, but that this DApp in Ethereum also can deploy to Algorand, Solana, Cardano, Terra, and that way it's going to be faster, cheaper, and also more secure. And by using EVM, they can reuse the same code.
Wonderful. Yeah. So just creating efficiency all around. That's great. I think that's really, really important. Those are really great points, Nico. Mark and Christina, what can we expect next from OccamX? I don't know if it's OccamX or Occam, but yeah, the way I'm pronouncing it, Occam or Occam.
Yeah, so let me pronounce it with my German accent. I call it OccamX.
Okay.
But it's pretty much up to you guys. If you pronounce it better than me and people prefer to do it that way, then we'll do it that way. So I think that's all fine. So what can we expect next? Yeah, so what we're waiting for is for the mainnet of Milkomeda. And then pretty much very soon after that, we'll switch the thing on and we'll make sure that our partners provide a decent amount of liquidity. Then we'll have marketing strategy in place to put the word out. Because we'll have nice incentive to start using it. And then from there, we'll see where it grows. I think for the Cardano ecosystem specifically, it's going to be a relevant place because there is enough and decent speed, and there is a decent amount of Cardano tokens that need a place where they can be traded in a decentralized way. And that's what we're fulfilling with the venue.
Christina, did you have anything to add to what Mark just said about what we can expect next?
Yeah, absolutely. So besides that, where users can also expect a bug bounty campaign, which is coming up soon. We're going to be releasing more news on that in the next weeks. And I think Mark already mentioned this, but we're also planning a big liquidity mining campaign. And there's going to be a lot of incentives. And I think somebody asked there about, marketing strategies. And the main thing that we want to do is have a really good product and have a really good DEX in place, which this is why we're asking for feedback from users to make sure that we're able to deliver something that works really well and that we have a really good use case for. And I think that from that, the marketing kind of spreads as well, because once you have something that works really well, people are going to be attracted to that either way. And besides that, once we're on the mainnet and we distribute OCX as well, we can look at OCX staking and kind of other improvements and further partnerships to announce.
Wonderful. Thanks, Christina. Last question from the audience, because we only have time for about one more. BitDono is asking, will we be able to see token balances on our liquidity positions on OCX? Mark, are you able to answer that?
Yeah, so the OccamX works pretty much the same way as Uniswap version 2. So you can expect a similar environment to see or to log in with your MetaMask and then see what's going on.
Wonderful. Thanks. Well, we are about out of time. So before we end the AMA, I just want Nico, Mark, and Christina I want you guys to kind of let the audience know how they can get in touch with you or in touch with the organizations and projects just moving forward. So Nico, would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It was super fun to be with all of you guys. And for Milkomeda, I would suggest to follow Milkomeda on Twitter. The username is Milkomeda_com. And Milkomeda is usually posting news about like what's going on. And if you are like want to hear when mainnet launch is going to be, which is going to be like pretty soon, but when you want to be the first one to hear it, I recommend to be following Milkomeda_com to hear all the latest news.
Great. Christina, how can the audience reach you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So from our side as well, please make sure you follow us on Twitter. So our handles are @OccamDex as well as @OccamFi. Please make sure you follow both accounts because we have information coming out there on a weekly basis. Besides that, you can also find us on Telegram. We have a big community there. It's OccamFi announcements and OccamFi community. And there, if you have any questions, our community managers will be able to answer them all for you.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Nico, Christina, and Mark. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you to the audience for joining us and for being so interactive with your questions. Those were awesome. Just want to remind the audience, please follow us on YouTube. We do more of these AMAs all the time, so we hope to see you back for the next ones. And thanks again, everyone. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.